All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. Going to be breaking down the 7-game slate that we have here on Thursday, touching on my favorite plays at each position, giving you guys my first look build, and then seeing what the 9 to 5 lineup builders telling us is the top build for the Thursday slate. Let's go ahead and get into it. So guys, let's go ahead and start out here with the point guard position, starting out with, I think, one of the better payout plays on the slate. That's going to be Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is going to get a game here where the Detroit Pistons are going to be a little bit thin with Jalen Duren being off the court and Isaiah Stewart still being off the court, both of those players being suspended. That leads to Cade Cunningham seeing a pretty big usage rate at about 34%. His fantasy points per 36 with those two players off the court is about 55 as well. So overall, he to me is the top payout play. And we do see over the last couple of games, guys, he's been someone that has been going off as well. Now, the issue with this is it's a tough matchup there against the Knicks. We do see in a game recently, only 22 minutes in that game and only scored 27 DFS points. Now, I do consider that an outlier because in the previous game against the New York Knicks, he was able to go off. So I like the idea of paying up for him. That being said, we are getting plenty of other decent point guard plays on this slate. If we go ahead and sort it by the DK value, guys, we're going to see we have two Pacers players popping up in there as two of the better values, TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard. Now, McConnell is still listed as questionable. He's someone that could end up sitting here, and if he does, then we're going to see that Andrew Nembhard becomes an even better option on the slate. So if McConnell sits pretty easily, Nembhard's been someone that has been, seeing some pretty big outputs, and it does line up with kind of what you would expect with Siakam being off the court there for the Pacers. And this is a game that ends up being a pretty good matchup there against Washington. I think we're going to like some of the other plays in Washington. Now, while we are on the Pacers, guys, another play that I like due to his multiple position eligibility is going to be Walker here for them. You can play him at the small forward spot or the power forward spot, and I think he ends up just being too cheap. He's someone that's had 30 plus upside over the past several games, especially considering when he gets 32 plus minutes. And so given the fact that this game's not only projected to be a pretty high scoring game, but also a higher scoring game, Walker is someone that I really end up liking a decent amount. So he's been someone I've been going out of my way to target a decent amount. And then just while we're talking about this game, guys, Alex Sarr is out in this game, and so I do think we are going to get some decent value here as well. Someone like Anthony Gill is popping up to me as not like a must play by any means, but also a decent value, at least as I'm recording this video. As the day progresses, tomorrow we should be getting, or on Thursday, we should be getting probably better value, but he's someone on a point per minute basis could easily get to 5, 6, 7x. And so I really don't mind him as an option, again, to start the day especially. I could get to Will Riley a little bit. He's been someone that's had some pretty big games recently as well. And then Watkins as well. Watkins is someone just at his price. I think he's very much appealing. He's been someone that's been getting a lot of minutes recently, and that is something you would expect to continue as well with them being thin. Now, I don't see either of those as like must clicks, but given their price tags, there are two players I have certainly been trying to get to as well. And then we do have one Brooklyn Nets player, guys, Nolan Traore, popping up as almost a 5x option for us, only projected for 26 minutes. I do think that's important to call out. When we look at Brooklyn, guys, they're actually getting pretty healthy. Okay, Nick Claxton's still going to be out, but Demon is going to be active, and then also Michael Porter Jr. is going to be active. So Nolan has been someone that's been going off over the past several of slates with some of those players being in and out of the lineup. That being said, Cam Thomas is out, obviously no longer with the team, and so that does expand the role for Nolan, but I wouldn't expect him to necessarily go off like he has been. But he's someone that has price tag. It's certainly worth looking at him as an option on this slate just due to the upside that he presents. Maybe he found himself in an expanded role. Again, Michael Porter Jr. was out for a majority of those games, but if he's going to get 30 plus minutes, you could easily see him going for 6 or 7x. He's been someone that's been getting involved assists wise and been scoring a decent amount as well. So he's certainly someone we should be looking at on this slate. And then in regards to someone playing a lot more minutes recently and playing better recently, we need to take a peek at CJ McCollum, guys. The minutes have been there for him. If he's going to be someone that gets 30 plus minutes here for Atlanta, then he's a little bit appealing. He could easily continue to go off. I do think it's much more risky here. He's not someone I think we have to go out of our way to target, but I do think the shooting guard position as a whole is pretty thin. And so with his multiple position eligibility, I could see myself getting to him. Now, when we go ahead and jump on into the shooting guards, there's one that does stand out to me, guys, and that's going to be Khan here for the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets are going to be thin still with Miles Bridges and Diabate being suspended here. And so with that, I think Khan is someone that, per 36 wise, he definitely benefits a bunch, averages closer to 40 fantasy points per 36. We see the recent game logs for him have been pretty darn stellar as well. I'm certainly happy to chase that upside. The one concern that we have is going to be this matchup here with Houston. The issue with this game is that it's a lower scoring game, about 217.5 game total. Now it's a close game. We like that. And he's someone that the day doesn't necessarily like as much as I do. Again, I'm putting a decent amount of stock into Bridges being out. And with that, Khan is someone that could easily go off. But it is a more difficult matchup. So it's not a foolproof play by any means. But still, at that price, I think it's certainly worth chasing the upside. And then by that same measure, guys, we should be looking at Brandon Miller here for the Charlotte Hornets as well. He's someone that went off in the last game, and he's someone that per 36 buys does go off. He could easily go for 6x. And it's almost in a weird way, I could see myself playing both of them together, just kind of betting on this game, maybe being a little bit higher scoring than what Vegas is imagining. And then obviously they both end up kind of going off at lower ownership. They're going to imagine they're going to be pretty low owned due to the matchup there with Houston. And that's kind of it for my small forwards, guys, honestly. So like shooting guard, small forward, to me, it's much more thin. We go ahead and jump on into the power forwards now. And I think we're getting a little bit more options, especially at some price tags. Like Jabari Smith has been someone that's been going off recently. The minutes have been there. He's getting 30 plus DFS points in all those games. I'm perfectly happy to chase that. And if you already are playing, one or two of the other Charlotte Hornets players, it does make sense to attempt to run it back with someone else. Now, the issue that I have is that I do like maybe chasing some of the Brooklyn bigs a little bit as well, because we do know that Nick Claxton is going to be out. And so you got someone like Noah Clowney, who has shown a very solid ceiling, going for 30 plus DFS points over the past couple of games. Now, again, that's partially due to Michael Porter Jr. being out, so you don't necessarily want to chase that too much. But using that same logic, guys, I also do like the idea of getting to their center, Sharp, as well, who has been able to go off for 50 plus DFS points kind of randomly here, basically on an every other game basis. But with Claxton being out, maybe ends up getting 25 minutes, and then maybe we're looking at him to go off once again. So I don't mind the idea of chasing that in some capacity, but also does feel a little bit thin there. But I already touched on some of the Washington value that I like there for their bigs, Sharp and Clowney for bigs for Brooklyn. I also don't mind. And then, Jabari Smith, I like to get to. And then so we go and get into the centers, guys. I do like the idea of getting to Jared Allen, who has been going off recently, but we got to call out that Evan Mobley is going to be back here in this game. So I wouldn't suggest playing him just because he's been going off. The reason why I like him is more due to the price tag. And I think we are getting this price just simply because Evan Mobley is back. But I think James Harden being there does help him. This game is projected to be a pretty big blowout as well, 16 plus points. So that's a little bit of a concern. But as it currently sits, I don't mind the idea of paying up for him. And then I already called out Gill. I already called out Sharp as plays, but I do think we are getting two decent plays for Phoenix as well at the center position. And actually, if we look at who is the best projected value on the slate as I'm recording this video, just in general, it's going to be Adam Bona. Okay, he's projected to get 6x. And then we got Jay Huff, Quinn and Grimes, some other plays I didn't necessarily mention on the slate. If you guys want to get to those, by all means, okay. You got Dominic Barlow as well, who's probably a little bit too cheap, but I like the idea of getting to Bona, and I also don't mind the idea of getting to Paul Reed. Both of those two plays are both very solid options on this slate. So Bona did not play that many minutes in the last game, which I thought was a little bit shocking. That game was a blowout. You would have imagined he would have. And to me, that does make him a little bit more risky. At the same time, I'm content getting to him just in general. Now, Drummond is not really a play that I feel like we need to get to. And I do think it makes sense to give Bona some run here for Philly with Embiid being out and with Paul George being out. That being said, for Paul Reed, guys, with Detroit, who's going to be without Duren and Isaiah Stewart, he is someone that makes a bunch of sense here as well. And he's someone I'm perfectly happy to pay up for. So let's go ahead and give you guys my first look build as it currently sits right now. Granted, I assume a lot of this is going to change throughout the day tomorrow once we get more news and whatnot, but I do think this helps put the best foot forward for you guys right now. So like ideally, I'd be able to upgrade from Watkins and Gill, but for now, I'm happy to kind of put this lineup out there as a solid base build. And so taking a peek at a lineup that the 9-to-5 lineup builder made, I'm okay with this. Jalen Johnson is certainly someone that we definitely should be looking at as a pay up as well. I should have mentioned that him and Cade Cunningham are the two that I currently want to pay up for the most. But yeah, Jalen Johnson has been going off recently. I expect that to continue. And then it is trying to get to some of the values. Went with Sharp instead of Bona, and then went with Barlow as the value center. I'm okay with that. Raw points wise, that's fine. I don't know if I want to get to like Horther and Simons too much. I think we could do better elsewhere, but overall, not a solid starting point for the day there as well. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Appreciate you being here. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys have not done so before. Good luck, and as always, let's keep cashing.